Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time at my channel, I hope that you'll stick around to see homeschool videos. My name is Jamie. I am a homeschool mom of 3 boys. They are in 2nd grade, 1st grade, and then I have a 12-month-old. And I'm going to hope to start doing some little activities with him in the upcoming school year, just some like sensory bins and sensory bags, and I want to start sharing them as well on my YouTube channel. Today's video, I'm going to talk to you about my curriculum choices for 2020-2021 school year. It's not really a year-round schedule because we do take a long summer, but we start back in July and we get out in April, beginning of May. We are currently done with this school year. So we'll start back in July. So I am already sitting down, working on all their curriculum, looking at what I want to do for next year and organizing everything, and that's where a lot of my videos are going to come from in the next few weeks. It's just an overview of what's for next year. So in this curriculum video, I'm going to go over what both my children have, my 2nd grader and my 1st grader, for their main subjects, along with what we do for our loop subjects. And I will go into more detail of our loop schedule later when I talk about our new calendar and schedule. But for this video, I'm mainly going to just be going over my curriculum, and I am going to do a video that goes into detail with each of my curriculum as well. This is just an overview. So the first thing I'm going to discuss with you is my loop schedule, and this is just where I have so many subjects and I just loop them around, and we don't do them all every day. We do get to them within the week. My loop subjects for this year are nature, studies, science, history, Spanish, art, and music. So I have 6 subjects this year for loop. This year I added nature, studies, and I've added Spanish compared to what I did last year. And I'm going to go through what I'm using for each of those. So for the nature studies, we are going to be spending a lot of time outside, going on hikes, and studying nature. But I've also added in some resources. Some of these are books, which I'll do a video separate that goes into each book. But my main text, or the spine of it, is called The Nature Connection, an Outdoor Workbook. And this book, I really like this book. And I just make copies of it for my kids. But it has a month-to-month guide. And then it has other things that we can teach. So when you go to the month-to-month guide in here, and I think I have it marked. So right here's July. It gives you a little bit about that month. And then it gives you activities to do for that month. So this will be what I use a lot. There are other things I'm going to use as well. And I'm going to do an actual whole entire video on the nature curriculum later when all of my books arrive, because I do a lot of read aloud books that go with this, and they haven't all came in yet. For science, next year I'm going to do the Southwest Science Adventures Volume 2. We did Volume 1 Zoology this year. My kids loved it. So I'm going to continue that by doing Volume 2 next year. And I can link in a video. I did a video about this curriculum last year with Volume 1. So I'm going to link that into this video if you're interested in looking at it. And I'm going to do one for this. And I've also ordered some more books on thriftbooks.com to go with this curriculum. Some more just read aloud books. I went to a sale, a Carson DeLoso sale back in December at the Carson DeLoso warehouse in Charlotte, North Carolina. And there they had, it was like fill a box for $20 or $25. And they were big boxes. So a lot of my books came during that sale. And that's where I kind of picked up some of my books for this year. One of the books I picked up was the Complete Book of Spanish for grades 1 through 3. And we are going to work through this book together, me and my kids, for the entire year, and we probably won't finish it, and we'll continue it next year. So this will be our Spanish main book. Again, I'm going to do a video on each of these individually because I have other resources that we're going to be using for Spanish this year. This is our main spine. And I did do a video on this last year. I used the same curriculum last year. We did not finish it, so we're going to continue it this year. And I got it from the Confessions of a Homeschooler. She's amazing. I love her blog, and I love her all of her material. It's excellent. But we used The World's Greatest Artist. And last year we only got through, I didn't start it at the beginning of the year, but we only got through Picasso and started Van Gogh. And I want to review with them at the beginning of next year Van Gogh, and we will continue. I also have other books that I use for The World's Greatest Artist that I will show you. Along with, I also have other art books that I pull from. But this is my main curriculum. And it was a PDF, and I printed it all, and then I bind it with my binding machine. My music curriculum, I haven't found this yet. It was the same thing. It's a PDF. And it's the world's greatest composers. And it's the same curriculum from the Confessions of a Homeschooler. I'm going to link her down below. But this is her music curriculum, and I'm going to start this with my kids this year. The next curriculum is it's called buildyourlibrary.com, and I did level 0. This is level 1. I did level 0 with my kids 2 years ago, and it was like animals around the world, traveling around the world, and then level 1 was the ancient world. We did half of that this year, and we will do half of it next year. And this comes with a lot of read aloud books as well. And I'm going to do another video about this, but we like this. They liked it last year. We like it this year. And this actually helps me find my nature study curriculum, because inside she has different sections, and it comes with like a little lesson plan. Let's see if I can find one right here. So it has like what you would do this week for history, mythology, poetry, literature, science, art, language arts, and math. I don't do the math or the language arts. I'll leave that off. The art, I bought her art book that she recommends, and I do that with my kids along with this. And like I said, I'll show you that when I do my art video. The science, it was all nature studies. So last year I didn't do it too much because we were doing zoology, but this year I really want to utilize her read alouds and her activities and do the nature studies. So that's what the science is. So that's where I got all of that information, was from this one curriculum. Her literature, these books are like read aloud books, and I do these. This one was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which we've already read. We're much farther than week 8, but I just pull these and I read these in their morning baskets with them. So we will have different chapter books that we'll read throughout the entire year. I did not do the mythology this year at all, or last year, and I'm not planning on doing it in this upcoming year. So I just marked that part out. And then I do the history. And I'm planning on just, once we finish level 1, I will then buy her level 2 and so forth, because I really do love her curriculum. I think it is excellent, and it has a lot of good information in it. So that is all of my loop schedule. Now, my children, every day, we do Bible together, and for that I just pull from different resources. I don't buy a curriculum, and I pull from many different books. And we normally do Bible during our morning basket time, or during our like breakfast or lunch. I read to them during breakfast time. Then there are other subjects that they do. These are differentiated based on their age. So they're completely different based off of my first grader and then my second grader. And that would include spelling, reading and language arts, writing, and math. Okay, so, and phonics. So for phonics, I use Hooked on Phonics. I've used it for 2 years. I started my son in it in kindergarten, and he's worked his way through all the K2 Hooked on Phonics books. There was 5 levels. He's worked through all of them. So what I'm going to do is, at the beginning of the school year, I'm actually going to pull an assessment, a phonics assessment that I had from teaching public education. It's a K2 assessment. I actually got it from Reading A to Z, and I get a lot of my resources from Reading A to Z because I used to have it when I taught public school. I loved Reading A to Z. It is amazing. It's a website where it goes on and it has lesson plans, it has books based off of levels, it has phonics activities, sight word activities, fluency activities. It has all kinds of activities and books that focus on everything. And when I taught, I had all these in files. So I decided that I would utilize them. So I'm going to give him the phonics assessment, and he's going to do a review on anything he doesn't know. My kindergartner is still struggling. He did Hooked on Phonics this year, but he knows like his letters and his letter sounds. But when it comes to blending it together to make words, he knows a lot of his word families. But I'm going to start him back at the beginning of word families so we can review those word families for next year. And one of the things that I'm going to use for that is the phonics lessons, which are the lessons from Reading A to Z. And like I said, I had these from when I taught, and I am planning on buying Reading A to Z. It's a year membership, so I'm not going to buy it until like July when I actually start school. But it is a year membership, and I want to say if you buy just Reading A to Z, it's like $100 and something. And if you buy it with Raz Kids, which is what I'm planning on doing, which is an online platform where my kids can go on and read stories, like on their iPads, it's like ebooks, it's like $200 a year. And that's what I'm planning on purchasing in the upcoming school year. But, long story short, that's where I put on my phonics. And this is what it looks like. And then, like, I've printed everything and put it in here. And then it'll have your lesson. So, like, this is lesson, it says short view, and it has everything you need. It has, like, activities. It comes with a book. It has a book, like a little reader for the kids to read that focus on that short vowel sound, like tub, bug, that word family. And I've also put in my Hooked on Phonics. I wrote in there my Hooked on Phonics pages that it corresponds with, so that way I can use both the Hooked on Phonics curriculum, which I've been using for 2 years with both of my kids, and I can use this Reading A to Z curriculum. Like I said, and it's, if you pay for the membership, which I think it's well worth it. I'm not affiliated with them. They've not came to me or anything. This is just from past experiences as being a teacher and how much I utilized it. I think it's amazing. So this will be our phonics curriculum. And then part of what I call reading. So in my reading time period to work with them, I work with them on phonics, spelling, language arts, and then actual reading comprehension. So for spelling, I got this at that Carson DeLosa sale. I got the Spectrum spelling, and I really like these. I got it for grade 1 and grade 2. And my grade 2 is already ripped because I went ahead and scanned it into my computer so that way I can have the copies for my son next year, because my son this year will use this. Kind of like if you're in a classroom and you buy one of these books and you use it for your whole entire class. You pull a sheet. So, but I like the spelling because, I'm trying to show you. Each week you'll have spelling words, and then he works on those spelling words for a whole entire week with different little activities. So that's what they'll do for spelling. Each week they'll get a list of spelling words, and then and they'll do different activities with it. And then in first grade, they have the same thing, but they don't start those spelling words until much later. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. The first 10 weeks, they're doing like reviews of letters, letter sounds, beginning sounds, and then after the 10 weeks, that is when they start getting a group of words for spelling, and it starts out with your word families, and then after that, see, so this week it would be like ran, king, cat, sat, dad, and bag. Those are A word families. That would be his word weeks, and he has much less being in first grade than in second grade. So that's what I'll use for spelling. For writing, for my kindergartner, we're using Spectrum writing. For my first grader, we're using the kindergarten book. We're going to finish it. We didn't finish it, so we'll use that, and we'll use Spectrum writing first grade. And then for my second grader, we're going to use Spectrum writing second grade. This will not last him all year, and that's when I'm going to pull Paragraph Writing Flight 1. And I did a video on this last year. He started it last year. We did the first 3 modules last year with my first grader. My kindergarten did not do this. And then we didn't finish it. So instead, I'm going to do this first, and then we'll go back and we'll finish this because this is a little bit harder and it's continuing to get harder. He is writing actual reports and paragraph after paragraph. It says paragraph writing, but he writes 2 paragraphs when he does these activities. They're kind of advanced. So we'll go back and do this, and then we'll finish up his writing, my second grader's writing, with this curriculum the next year. This year we'll finish both, sorry. And you can see this lesson says write a story, and it teaches you how to write a story. It goes into writing a friendly letter, writing a thank you note, giving your facts and opinions, writing an opinion piece. So I just really liked how it breaks it down in here. The next thing that I do for reading is language arts, and I pull different, and they won't do this entire book, but again, I bought these at the Carson DeLoso, Spectrum Language Arts Grade 1, Spectrum Language Arts Grade 2. I'm not even sure we'll do the whole book. It's not really for that. It's just extra practice if I want to. It kind of gives me an idea of things that they need to know. This is if we're learning about nouns that week, then I'll kind of look and see if there's a paper in here with nouns, and I'll pull it out and let them work on it. If we're working on synonyms, then I'll go and look for something that has to do with synonyms, and I'll pull it out. So I won't be doing everything in these books. It's just a little extra resource for both of them. That brings me to reading comprehension. So again, what I do for reading comprehension, and I'll do a video that goes more in detail, is I use the reading A to Z, and I do follow the standards that are required by the state of North Carolina for public education. I do this because I was a public educator, and I don't know, I want my kids to kind of know the same things that they know if they ever have to go back into public school. So what I do is I have a printout of the standards for for first grade and for second grade. And I look at those standards, and then I pull from Reading A to Z a book on their level that would go over that skill. And I'll read one of those books. I'll read a book to them. It could be a literature book, it could be a Reading A to Z book, it could be any type of book, but I'll read that. Let's say we're working on characters. I'll read that book to them, and I'll discuss characters. And I'll talk to them about characters, and we'll look at the characters in the book. We'll analyze the character. We'll talk about how they changed over time, because that is one of the things in one of the standards is how do characters change from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. Then they will read to me a leveled reader that I get from Reading A to Z on that level that discusses characters. And that way, they're watching me do it, then they do it. So I utilize Reading A to Z a lot. A lot of these books I've had printed out for a long time from when I taught, and I have all kinds of levels because I taught kindergarten, second, and third grade. And I used to print them out all the time for my kids. But when you teach public school, you might have a kindergartner who's on a first grade level. So you're pulling books for that first grade level. You might have a third grader who's on a second grade level. So I have books that vary in levels from kindergarten to 5th grade. So that really helps me out being able to pull books. And then when I buy the Reading A to Z, I can again go in there and print out new books or look at new resources. I know one of the things they have is curriculum maps. And I've been looking at those curriculum maps and that they have from when I taught, and they actually go through all of the literature, and I'll probably end up using that to teach a lot of my reading comprehension piece. Okay, the next thing that they do by themselves is math. And I use what is called Zern. I love Zern. I use Zern again. Used it when I taught public school. Zern is based off of North Carolina standards. It's based off the Common Core. And I know there's a lot of people out there who hate the Common Core. And I know there's a lot of people out there who took their kids out of public education because of Common Core. That is fine. This is just what I do. I like the way Zern breaks down each lesson. I like the way it teaches it to my kids. And then I also teach them other ways to solve a problem. I want them to have multiple ways to solve a problem and multiple ways to look at math. But Zern is free, completely free. You go in, it's all digital. You go in and you sign in. And then they have a section in there for lesson plans. And they're called like small group lesson plans. But I just use them with my child one-on-one. And I printed them all out. This is the first grade. I have not finished printing out the second grade, but when I do, they'll all be printed out and bind as well. So this is the first grade, and it's a lot. These are all teachers, and there's 6 missions for first grade. There's 8 missions for second grade. These are not printed front to back. I have a new printer now. They will be printed front to back, so this will be much, much smaller for my second grade. But I like it because it just goes in, and it has in your lesson the materials I need, and it's scripted. It tells me exactly what to say and what my child should be saying, and it's 2 pages, and then it kind of goes into the next lesson. With this, my kids have, I printed out, I can print out all kinds of stuff, worksheets and all kinds of things with it, but they also have a digital portion where my kid gets on, and they have like a fluency activity, a game, they do a little lesson. It teaches them and shows them, and then they have to do like a little worksheet. And I've already put that in my child's binders for next year. And I'll do a video on these binders. And this is what it looks like. And this is my second grade book. So like his first one is add and subtract small numbers. So at the beginning of the year, it teaches him how to do that. So it'll have the lesson. And then with the lesson, it'll have him do this with them, which is, and then it'll have him do some by himself. And then the next day again, it'll have the lesson. He'll do it with them, and then it has him doing it by himself. So for math, the way that I do that is, and I'll go into more detail about both of my kids with the math video, and I'm going to try to show you the screens that they see and what they see. But I work with my child one-on-one. We work out the math problems. We do it on like whiteboards and stuff. Then they go and do it in front of the computer while I'm working with my other son. So like my second grader will come do it on the computer, and he'll do it with those worksheets, and he'll do those sheets by himself. And then I'll pull him, go over, look over his sheets, but I also pull him and work with him one-on-one as well. And Zern is completely free, which and it's really good resources. They have all kinds of like worksheets and problems and word problems and lessons, and even if you didn't want to print all that out, the digital part of it is amazing for your kids to practice. I think that is it. I went over all of our curriculum pretty quickly. Like I said, I'll do videos to go more in depth with all of these. If there's anything you have a question about, please leave it in my comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more homeschool videos. Thank you.